This is the big city port in the 1920s. It was an era of rapid change. The steam engine tugs were in their heyday and were gradually replacing the old sailing scows, which was not as powerful nor dependable. Even so, steam in its turn would shortly have to give way to diesel, but it was in this period, when the steam tug was in its glory, that it was regarded with the most affection. It was a time of great opportunity, and none knew it better than the tug companies. Every vessel from the loneliest trans-steamer to the grandest ocean liner depended on tugs to bring them safely into harbour. In fact, the whole working of the port depended on them, and often they were so busy they would work long into the night, usually without complaint. This is TUGS. Hello? What? You expected me of all people to say the line, "Hello everyone, HazelWalle here" at the beginning? I guess not. Today is a special day, as it's officially the 34th anniversary for TUGS. I hope. Really depends if I upload this video on that day or not. This tubular series has made a giant impact on me and many others, for tackling topics that no other kid show would even dare to go near. It has flaws, but TUGS is quite possibly, and quite obviously, my favourite thing ever. It's something that's made a huge impact on those who've seen the show, and today I want you all to hear me out and talk about why TUGS means so much to those who've seen it. This video once and for all seeks to end the poorly done review on TUGS I did, where I glossed over the show's incredible details and just said the show is good. But today, I want to go over why. Please enjoy what I have to say about this show. So with that all out of the way, let's go. It all began in 2015 to 2016. I used to watch the one, the only, the unlucky Tug, when he used to be making videos on the CGI series when it was brand new. At the time I was a giant Thomas fanboy, so when I came across his content, I was made aware of a certain series. He had a few TUGS videos during this time, but what really made me aware of his existence was the Jack in the Pack video, when he went on about TUGS for a little bit, and how he said it was perfect. Despite that though, I really showed no interest in watching it. It looked fine, but nothing that really looked that appealing to me. I apologise if I cannot pass up a good reason why, it just didn't really look that appealing to me. I thought it would be a bland show and nothing more, so I put off from watching it. After 2017, I would, in general, fall off Thomas the Tank Engine. I did recall watching the TUGS intro back in 2017, but I didn't really care enough to watch the entire series. So, how did I get into TUGS exactly? Well, in September of 2020, a video from the legendary comeback that was the Unlucky Tug posted a video about Bigg World Big Adventures, or aka BWABA, or BWBA. At the time, I didn't like Thomas, but I still respected his content and still gave it a watch. After watching the whole video though, it really made me think about the quality of the model series. After watching a fan remake of The Missing Coach, I was convinced. I soon got back into Thomas the Tank Engine and friends. So you have all been asking the burning question, Hazel, cool story, how did this pertain to TUGS exactly? I was actually getting to that point. Anyways, in November of 2020, possibly late October, curiosity after a long time got the better of me. I may as well check out TUGS, I thought. So I first watched Sunshine and, well, I'll just say history was made. I loved it, possibly even more than Thomas. So much so that I was already drawing fan art of the show as early as later that month. I cannot recall much from my pre-2021 days as a fan, but all I can say is that me recalling the first time watching Big Freeze. I recall turning off the lights and putting the curtains down, in order to really add to the grand feeling of the episode. Nowadays I'm not as fond as Big Freeze, but I'll always forever cherish that moment in my life. However, as far into 2020 I went, I sort of lost interest towards the franchise. You can only do so much with a show that only has 13 episodes, and of course, I was extremely unaware of the production history for the show, barring the existence of the scissor reel and TUGS the Exhibition. However, that all changed one day, when a video got recommended to me. The TUGS Iceberg by Ian2. Still showing appreciation towards TUGS, I clicked on it. There was no looking back. I now knew almost everything I needed to know to become a nerd of the franchise. I already learned at that point that the TUGS Exhibition wasn't very good. However, learning about the whole gatekeeping situation and how they faked an NDA made me despise them even more. Over the next few months, I was even a bigger fan of TUGS than I already was. So much so that I already dedicated an, at the time, indecisive YouTube channel to TUGS content, with the release of the infamous Bigg comic port in 2021. And then on New Year's Eve 2021, I even joined a TUGS Discord group, where I was able to talk to lots of dedicated TUGS fans every day. Possibly one of my favourite memories last year was quite possibly one of the best reveals emotionally, the discovery of the scissor reel footage. I remember waking up at 5 AM in the morning to see a picture of Boomer ramming into Izzy Gomez on Discord. I freaked the hell out, so much so it woke my dad up, who thought people broke into our house. Later, me and a good friend of mine, Henhouse, watched the Sizzler for the first time and lost our minds. Go watch our scissor reel reaction as linked in the description. Since then, I have made incredible friends in the community, and hopefully I am looking forward to the future. It's a lot to question to an outsider. What made it so good to most of us who watched it? For starters, if you haven't already, I highly recommend you check out the series first before going forward. Or heck, why are you even here to begin with? Anyways, I think one of the 3 reasons why TUGS is so good to begin with is the incredible visuals. Thomas already looked very visually appealing before, with its pleasing calming visuals and sometimes breathtaking sets. TUGS, however, pun partially intended, blew all of that out of the water. I'll be here all day. Just look at these sets. The water effects, the details, the morning shots, the night shots, the evening shots, the daytime shots, and even the panning shots. Like, wow, no wonder the sizzle reel used lots of these. The props, all of them, are impeccably detailed. Even the simpler props have small details you would never catch. And my goodness, the sets in general are just so beautiful to look at. The crusty uploads on YouTube do not do them justice. In fact, what I am showing you is some extremely high quality VHS footage uploaded by the legendary TUGS Project in 2022 for Christmas, just to give you a taste of how incredible the show looks. I think the second reason why the show works so well is, the characters. In TUGS there are obviously 2 fleets, the Star TUGS and the Z Stacks. It would be easier to say that all of the characters in the show are incredibly unique and varied. I feel like a great example would be none other than the series' mascot, 10 Cents. 10 Cents is considered a stand-in for the audience. He's young, yet at the same time, he's very quick to anger. He often gets himself frustrated when others pick on him, and this causes him to fight back.
You naval twit! You scrapped a brand new barge deliberately! How did that happen? Oh, did you do that?
Say?
No, I need it.
Yeah, he needs it, all right.
Listen, I'll give it to him. You take that and his 2 items of theft report to Captain Zero.
I told you I don't care!
You will when he gives Captain Star an earful.
However, he often proves himself a hero, often saving the day by quick thinking or always looking out for others. Like in the pilot Sunshine, he was the one who thought of looking for Sunshine, which leads him to finding out the truth from Izzy Gomez and clears everything up. If I would go over the incredible characters in this show, I would be here all day, but I'll also throw up one more example. Probably my favourite character in TUGS is none other than the small midget submarine, Grampus. I just love how heroic he is. In Pirate, he is literally a part of the plan to save Sea Rogue and the Old Man from the evil pirate twins, who holds the Old Man hostage and threatens to sink him if Sea Rogue doesn't commit crimes. In Regatta, he saves Lily Lightship from sinking, so he can wait out a rescue for her, which also risks himself as well. And when he's forced to be destroyed by the Navy, he humbly accepts his fate. Like, dang! Again, there is lots to get into here, but now is time to really discuss what holds the show together in my opinion. The stories.
TUGS, coming to you this autumn on Castle Vision.
TUGS lasted a total of 13 episodes of a single season. However, as one person goes, quality over quantity. So when talking about an episode, I'll be only going to definitive versions of the episode's release, and will not be counting work prints, as those are prototype versions of the episodes, and do not affect the final variants of the episodes. Episode 1, Sunshine, the good old pilot. Sunshine was the second episode filmed, and is one of the two that was filmed in 1987. It was one of the 4.5 episodes we have the extended cuts of. Sunshine introduces the world of Big City Port. Captain Star announces he has hired a new switcher named Sunshine, and also announces that he has also gained the contract for the Duchess. The Zeros take a disliking to this and attempt to sabotage the Stars on this chance. After attempting to get Big Mac out of the picture, the Stars almost make it to the dock, when unfortunately, Sunshine is hit by Zoran, while mostly nobody except Izzy Gomez sees him do so. After chasing for Sunshine at night, Izzy reveals to Tencent that the whole incident was done by Zoran. And soon after, everything gets cleared up and the Zeros get into trouble. Personally speaking, I'm quite mixed on Sunshine as an episode. On one hand, for a pilot, it does wonders for introducing the world and the characters like no other. However, even for a pilot, it's very slow paced. Not a lot happens in the episode, like there are 2 Zero briefings, and one of them feels very tacked on. And I feel like everything seems to happen at once during the big moment in the episode. At the very least, however, the episode is still very enjoyable and has some positives. In particular, I like the Star Briefing scene, or at least the original extended version of the establishing shot. Aside from the set being reflected in the water, it's a perfect shot. It's disappointing that they had to remove most of the footage from the final cuts of the episode. Episode 2, Pirate, one of the fan favourites. One day, Tencent delivers a barge to appear as requested by Zip and Zug. However, later that night, a mysterious tug known as Sea Rogue steals the barge and Tencent is ultimately blamed for the incident, which leads the TC to get good old Dredger detail. Grampus, who wants to see if he can prove everyone that Tencent did not steal the barge, sets out to find out who stole the barge, who then, after a day of searching, encounters Sea Rogue and 2 evil pirate tugs and an old fart. Anyway, Sea Rogue turns out he was forced to steal barges so he can save his uncle from being sunk to the bottom of the Hiver. Luckily, thanks to the help of Grampus, Tencent and Sunshine, the three managed to find Sea Rogue and teamed up with him. With some Zip and Zug shenanigans here and there, they were able to finally catch the pirate tugs and save the old man, once and for all, clearing Tencent's name. This is easily my favourite episode in the whole series. Maybe alongside Regatta and Jinxed. But I really love this episode. So much good happens within it, like how amazing Grampus is, thanks to him willing to look into the situation and wanting to clear Tencent's name, is very amazing of him to do so. Not only that, this is filled with so many classic moments. Like everyone knows about the Warrior and Top Hat scene, or Zip and Zug's stakeout scene. What about Scuttlebutt scenes? There's lots of incredible scenes in this episode that are endlessly entertaining. Therefore, I consider it one of my favourite episodes in the entire series. Episode 3, Trapped. Our first 15-minute episode. The Tugs are working together by taking timber and tanning bark to the sawmills upriver. However, Zug is bringing an old rusty tramper. With some quote-unquote help from Zoran, things go horribly wrong. The tramper gets stuck across the river, which traps most, keyword most, of the Star Tugs and Zug. Thanks to the help from the legendary Billy Shoepack, he is able to break everyone out. Damn, I was late. Thanks to some poor timing from Zoran, he lands onto a rock and is laughed at by everyone. Unlike Pirate, this episode didn't take nearly as long to explain. Despite that though, I still consider this episode to be superior to Sunshine. It's just an extremely goofy episode to watch. One of my favourite scenes in the episode is the one where Zoran finds out and encounters that 10 cents was not on the other side of the border. The way how Zoran sounds so naturally dumbfounded and sarcastic makes this one of his best moments in the entire show. Billy Shoepack is a very funny character. His goofy voice combined with his very explosive personality, I'll be here all night, makes him a very entertaining character. Let's talk about that work print version. In 2022, an early version of the episode was filmed and uploaded by the Inferno Birdy. It isn't too far off from the episode in terms of structure, however, there is one piece of dialogue that's different. That being Big Mac stating,
"Wait until the railway people hear about this. There's still more of our fate."
This seems to be connected to a deleted scene from Chapter's 20-minute cut, where it mentions one of the engines and a rail bridge being present. There was also another version of the episode that is sadly yet to resurface, where actor Brian Blessed allegedly recorded a dub of the episode. Sadly, this version was never released and is owned by TUGS The Exhibition, who is yet to release any materials pertaining towards the episode. However, it is known to exist. It will be unknown if we will eventually see all those behind the scenes materials in full. But it still doesn't take away how goofy and funny this episode really is. An absolutely hilarious episode. Episode 4, Regatta, my definite favourite. One evening, a day before the annual 4th of July Regatta parade, Lily Lightship is hit by a runaway tram steamer, which puts her in danger of sinking. Luck strikes, however, when Grampus the midget submarine finds Lily in danger, and plugs his nose in order to stall the sinking until help arrives. Luckily, help does arrive, even though it does mean quote-unquote borrowing barges from the Z-Stacks. A brief victory, however, doesn't last very long, as unfortunately when Blueno shows up, he reveals they're going to blow Grampus up. Are you serious? Thanks to some quick thinking from the stars, they literally risk themselves from being blown up on the naval ship, who, quick fun fact, only speaks in the 15-minute cut of the episode. The reason why they don't speak in the 20 is most likely due to the slightly rushed nature of the 20-minute cut. Anyways, they save Grampus just in time for the Regatta parade. Grampus is also purchased by Captain Star, who now makes him firmly a part of the Star Tug and Marine. As I said, this is by far my favourite episode of TUGS, and the reason why is very simple. It's just very eventful. Lots of things happen in the episode, and they manage to make it as cohesive as possible. It's Grampus who's the one that ties everything together. He goes from him saving Lily Lightship, to being blown up, and to reveal how much gratitude the stars have for him. It goes to show that even the smallest things can be very useful. Let's talk about the quote-unquote original version of the episode, and I'm not referring to the 20 cut either. Evidence has recently surfaced of an apparent director's cut of the episode that once existed. This is revealed by the 4th of July script, which photos of the entire thing can be found online. While the dialogue is noticeably different, evidence in the episode footage speaks that it seemingly got further into production than what was previously for. Notably, there was a deleted scene that takes place prior to 10 Cents arriving on the scene and stealing the timber barge from the Zeros, where Zip spots 10 Cents heading towards them. This scene infamously has a picture found on a Japanese stamping card. Other examples include Sunshine telling Top Hat to "Get onto your work as well, man!" which can be briefly seen as Sunshine's fender is briefly seen emerging from the foreground in the shot. And shots repurposed from a scene where Warrior apologizes for messing up the Regatta, a moment cut in the final. This overall makes Regatta even more interesting, and is also another reason why I consider it my favourite episode in the entire show. If you want to watch an episode of TUGS, watch this one. I love this episode. Episode 5, Munitions, the fan favourite. Bluenose, the naval tug who was previously established in the prior episode, is being an actual bossing everyone, even Hercules, around. Though Hercules doesn't even care, and even has the audacity to call him old darling. The Star Tugs are given the job at the Munitions. Guess what? I misremembered. In the episode it just says that the Tugs are working for the Navy, not the Munitions contract. That was apparently for the Z-Stacks. I just wanted to clear something up. Okay, bye! Well, the Zeros get the explosive contract. A very dangerous yet valuable one. However, all hell breaks loose when Bluenose goes too far and hits a barge where all the explosives are on, causing the destruction of the dock, taking out Big Mickey in the process and seemingly traumatizing Bluenose. Warrior, Sunshine the Fire Chief, and I guess Top Hat also join in to stop the fire. The fire soon spreads to an oil barge, and 10 Cents gets it out as far as he can, which then it blows up as soon as he leaves. Soon, Krakatoa is utter and completely blown up, which causes her to sink. Warning hits with no word from 10 Cents, so that means he's dead. Episode's over. Goodbye. Never mind. This episode is fantastic. I may not like it nearly as much as Regatta nor Pirate, but I still really like it. The excitement this episode has is completely unmatched. But what really sells it to me, however, is the character interactions during the big moment of the episode. Like seriously, I love even how during the fire, Zoran basically accepts that, "Yep, this sucks, but who cares?" Possibly my favourite part of the entire episode is Warrior's part. Not only the scene where he gets hit by the tanker is funny, but also we get to see him use his fire hose for the first and only time I can recall throughout the series. Still neat, it got some use though. An incredible watch through and through. Easily one of the best episodes in the entire show. Episode 6. Warrior's Longest Day. The episode begins with Warrior collecting stone? I thought there was a scene with him and Big Mac. Possibly my memory is failing me. After passing by Izzy Gomez, the Mexican tramp steamer, we see 10 Cent Sunshine? Wait a minute, this isn't the extended cut, it's the 15. If you've been unaware, recently the video footage for an extended cut of Warrior has been found. This is where the episode was in its 20-minute version, and for us many scenes were cut or were never released. Sadly, as established earlier, I will not be covering Warrior's 20 cut, as that breaks the rule of it being a prototype version of the episode. I'm judging the episode from its final release, that's definitive, I guess. Anyways, Izzy Gomez, who had enough of begging for toes, decides to run into the port, but unfortunately crashes into the rock foundations. Meanwhile, as set up by the Z-Stacks by overflowing his barge, Warrior accidentally sinks Big Mac's barge. Warrior then quickly swoops in and stops Izzy Gomez from sinking, alongside the help of 10 Cents, Big Mac and Top Hat. Judging from purely the 15-minute cut, I'm very mixed on the episode as a whole. I feel like the real reason why the episode feels off in many aspects is due to the 15-minute cuts made. It's extremely distracting having Warrior suddenly come out of nowhere to save Izzy Gomez, which comes off as plot convenience. Yeah, the Coast Guard does mention he will go get help, but he only mentions Big Mac, which could mean that Warrior just randomly shows up. It, at the very least, however, does explain why Big Mac comes in later, but how the 20 did it was vastly superior. It also cut out the intro to the episode, where Warrior and Big Mac discuss whatever? The leaked audio is nearly impossible to hear, and no script is publicly available nor seemingly around today. I'm sorry if I'm rambling about the 20, but that's my biggest gripe with the episode in general. The 15-minute cuts are extremely frustrating. The episode's still fine, I guess. It's got some good jokes, and I do like the music at least, especially Izzy Gomez's crash scene music. Still though, not a big fan. Oh boy, I can't believe I'm saying this, but me back in 2022 was dead wrong about High Tide. It's actually an amazing episode with actually fun writing and good characters. What was I even saying that the 15-minute cuts downplay the episode in my opinion? It clearly doesn't. The plot is that High Tide has hit Big City Port, and Top Hat has been put on garbage detail. Meanwhile, the Zero Harbour Tugs and the Star Harbour Tugs compete for the Still contract. Due to Zack's engine problems, however, the Zeros decided to take a shortcut. Little did they know, however, that would be a big mistake. When encountering Top Hat, Zebedee loses control and hits the bridge, and then, like Munitions, all hell breaks loose. Top Hat manages to save 2 steam engines from certain disaster, and Lord Stinker proves that garbage can be very valuable stuff. I really need to revoke what I said in the old video. High Tide is yet another amazing episode, filled to the brim with action and incredible Top Hat quotes. Lines such as, "You know, it never fails to amaze me. Every day I see something new. Today is the sight of a floating sack of coal, no less." Or, "My load is wider!" are exceptionally funny and memorable even to this very day. I also feel like the subplot between the Harbour Tugs nicely ties the entire story together. If it wasn't for the Z-Stacks trying to get a shortcut in front of the stars, the main super awesome action part of the plot may have never happened. It's also kinda cool that this is the most minor of a role that Tencent and Sunshine get in an episode, as focus is put onto the more obscure characters. Overall, I revoke what I said before, an absolutely fantastic story through and through. Episode 8, Quarantine. The fans' least favorite episode. A big heat wave has hit Big City Port, and with it comes diseases. And of course, high temperatures mean high anger. OJ has been having trouble with his engine, and has an incident which caused the Fulton ferry to sink to the bottom of the harbour. Meanwhile, the evil scrap dealers, Burke and Blair, are looking to scrap OJ for a very good price. Sunshine is then sent out to look for Nantucket, also known as Dirt Bucket. However, he begins to illegally lower down his yellow flag, which for those who don't know, a yellow flag means he's in quarantine. Sunshine wisely backs off. However, Zoran and Tencent don't assume so, and OJ risks his entire life just to save Tencent from quarantine. Zoran ends up realizing it was all for nothing and gets infected. Even though he did have a temper in this episode, Captain Star, after hearing the story, sends for a repair for OJ. A lot of TUGS fans aren't really too big on quarantine. It's for a multitude of reasons, but the main reason why is that the story feels somewhat disconnected. While Regatta did wonders stringing everything together, Quarantine feels like 2 separate stories tacked onto each other, with OJ really being the only thing tying the stories together. However, to a margin, I do disagree with fans' issues with Captain Star being too mean. Yeah, he does come off as an but I feel like it's just a bit justified knowing the high temperatures, and that I also feel like I prefer Captain Star to be more cranky. Let me remind you guys that in Pirate, he wasn't any better. Star is portrayed as a realistic businessman, which is why I don't see him as the father figure character as what people see the Fat Controller as such. I do think he goes a little overboard in this episode, but I'm just saying I don't mind this more aggressive version of Captain Star than what most people are saying, or at least what I assume. I'm still not the biggest Quarantine fan because it feels off and I doubt the 20 would be any better, but it is what it is. A decent episode, just not one of my favourites. Episode 9, Ghosts. Sadly, I'm going to keep the footage to a minimum, because otherwise good old Salty's Lighthouse will copyright claim this video automatically. Enjoy some photo book pictures. One evening, Big Mac, after hearing some of Scuttlebutt's ghost stories, is travelling around when he spots a series of ghostly white tugs. He then tells the other tugs that he saw the ghost, but in typical cartoony fashion, they do not believe him. Even OJ. However, they would all be proven wrong. Even Zoran and Izzy Gomez are spooked, topping it all off with Tencent and Sunshine witnessing a rising gallon. And then in the next morning, Hercules explains everything in one fell swoop. If I'm going to be quite honest, while I like this episode, I am clearly not as big on it as other fans are. I feel like the reason why is the rather simplistic story with very little happening in it. Like, yes we know, all the tugs get all scared and spooked. That's the entire episode in a nutshell. But why am I not thinking the episode is at least decent? Well, this episode looks amazing. Again, copyright will bite me for this, and regardless, the current VHS rips on YouTube do not do the episode justice in my opinion. So in a way, using only photos from the episode kinda does it justice, I suppose. I encourage you all to go back and watch this episode and watch the visuals. It still holds up incredibly. Oh yeah, and Satcha exists, but I personally digress. So, I would explain more, but we don't have a lot of documentation behind the scenes of this episode, so I'll be moving on. Okay, I lied. There's actually some shooting schedules from the episode, and they do reference some deleted scenes, so here they are. Okay, bye! Episode 10, Jinxed. One of my top favourites. One day out at sea, Tense as a Sunshine spotted someone they've never seen before. His name is Wreckbuoy. I'm sorry, I meant Boomer. Boomer believes he's a Jinxed Tug. While Tencent at first doesn't believe it at first, he would soon be proven wrong by various incidents that would occur, such as a munitions barge blowing up to an entire crash at Lucky's yard. Sunshine believes Tencent's Hooter is the cause of the jinx, which is seemingly proven at first. However, when Captain Star puts him on the job to take out a schooner at sea, he blows it and reveals that the jinx is caused by him. But it all works out in the end, as Captain Star turns him into a houseboat, and lives the rest of his life as a houseboat. This episode I have a lot of attachment to, possibly because I will not stop making videos on it. However, even then, I find this episode alongside Sunshine oddly nostalgic. For starters, Boomer is a great character, because he's just so jaded and relatable. Like how he just humbly accepts his fate and wants to sink to the bottom of the ocean just so he can stop the jinx. Or when the damn rocks buoy starts sinking, he just laughs it off. You better get another one fast. I just had about enough. Another thing I like about Jinx is ironically how much the episode caused discussion in the community. Jinx's extended cut, while lost, is extremely well documented and interesting, from an early script being found to actual footage of deleted scenes being also found, thanks to someone filming a video of a promotional demo tape. It caused lots of discussion in the community and will probably continue for a very long time. An incredibly charming episode that I will never forget. Easily one of my favourite episodes in the entire show. Episode 11, High Winds, another fan favourite. High winds have been hitting Big City Port hard. One day, a mysterious criminal with a surprising past with Captain Zero pushes his way into Big City Port and encounters Zebedee. Johnny Cuba himself threatens to sink poor Zebedee if he doesn't do his request. It doesn't help things when Zebedee can't even tell Captain Zero, because he will most likely sink him as well. After totally not helping the stars, Soren grows extremely suspicious of Zebedee. After saving the stars from an incident with the Princess Alice, Zebedee, after being caught in between Hercules and Cuba, finally snaps at Johnny Cuba and sends him to the police. Afterwards, thanks to his effort, the Star Switchers ask Zebedee if he can join the Starfleet, but he rejects the offer, ending the episode beautifully with a sunset. I sound like a broken record saying this, but I love this episode. The fact we got an episode focusing on the Z-Stuck Tug in general is amazing. Zebedee is such a compelling character. You can tell he has a good side within him, but even then, he still prefers the side with the zeros, as seen in High Tide. However, when push comes to shove, he will always look out for others regardless of side. Johnny Cuba is both funny and threatening at the same time, at least in my opinion. He's funny because I find his run into the Ghost Guard to be hilarious, but is threatening at the same time because of the threats he says to Zebedee are oddly violent.
And don't try anything fancy, or you'll find yourself at the bottom of the harbour with cement on your hold.
Easily my favourite scene in the entire episode is without a doubt the Princess Alice scene. It's extremely action-packed, and of course that classic danger theme plays in the background, really elevating the entire scene and making it feel very action-packed. Also, fun fact for the day! Did you know that footage used for Regatta's intro actually came from a deleted scene from High Winds, which explains why Willy Light's ship has worried looks on her face and, believe it or not, it's also the reason why the set appears all windy. Overall, an incredible episode as always. And this now all ends the Big City Port episodes, where we got 2 more upriver episodes to cover. Episode 12, Upriver. There is actually some slight bit of confusion online between this episode and Big Freeze in regards to which episode belongs here. According to Unknown Thomas Fan 1's uploads and playlist, it says Upriver is the 13th episode in the series, and vice versa for Big Freeze. However, it has been definitely confirmed that Big Freeze comes after Upriver. However, I do see some truth to this, however, as in Japan, Big Freeze is the 12th episode, and the 13th/final for Upriver. It was most likely spread around as misinformation as the episode order in the UK. Anyways, the episode begins with establishing that the worst of winter is over in Big City Port, and that the Star Tugs are given the task to do logging. However, Sunshine accidentally gets trapped in between some logs, and thanks to some help from Billy Shoepack, he is freed, but at a cost. The logs rampage down to Uptown, but thanks to the help of Puffer, the rest of the Star Tugs are warned and prepared to stop the logs. Warrior unfortunately gets stuck on the other side, but thanks to his mighty strength, he saves the day by sending them flying into a warehouse, saving Uptown from destruction. Nothing against this episode majorly, but I tend to forget about this one's existence. Nothing really sticks out as super memorable, but does this make the episode bad? No, I actually do really like this episode. One thing I do like is that Billy Shoepack actually moves his face and eyes in the episode. In Trapped, he was rushed in, hence why he only has one face mask and no eye mechanism. Another thing I really do like from this episode is the scene of Puffer racing through Upriver to Uptown in order to warn the other Star Tugs. This scene is extremely fun to watch. In terms of behind the scenes material, the 20 cut of Upriver is very mysterious, particularly because we do not know a lot about it. Notably, it appears that the Z-Stacks were supposed to make an appearance in the episode, but were cut for time in the 15 version, hence why this episode ended up being the only one in the series without any Z-Stacks. There was also a deleted scene with Sunshine and Billy Shoepack, which currently is unknown what the scene's purpose was for. Probably the most infamous thing about Upriver though, was the time tease behind the scenes segment from Movie Magic, which was gatekept from the community for a long time. Yes, higher-ups in the TUGS community tried to gatekeep a segment from a TV show that aired publicly on TV. It was not even a production tape. Regardless, it gives us a decent look into what went on behind the scenes for the episode, and we even see interviews with Chris Tulloch, David Midden, and Robert D. Cardona. Overall, a very interesting episode to learn about, but not really a particular favourite of mine. Episode 13, Big Freeze. The worst of winter has arrived in Big City Port. The SS Vienna is arriving into Big City Port, and Hercules is heading to take her upriver to refuel her and stock up. Fuel has become very scarce, unfortunately, and Tencent and Sunshine are struggling to find fuel for the Lily Lightship. They ask Sudrian if they can use the fuel, but he refuses, claiming it's for Vienna. Tencent and Sunshine spotted a light barge and planned on using it, but Zip and Zug had other plans for them, trapping them both. This is detrimental for Lily and Vienna, but Zip and Zug assume it's Tencent and Sunshine attempting to one-up the Z-Stacks. Night falls, and after the other Tugs' numerous failed attempts to bring Vienna in, luck has strike when the tide lowers down enough that the switches are able to escape. They arrive just in time and light the SS Vienna's way to safety. Zorin then calls out Zip and Zug for hindering the stars, stealing the fire barge and telling them that both fleets would have benefited from the light barge greatly. Zip and Zug arrive back in to fix up the fire barge, however, as soon as they arrive back, they're caught by the fire chief. Vienna arrives and Zorin then finds out that the fuel wasn't really needed, like, at all. So Lily is fueled up, and then it is time for Vienna to leave. A beautiful song plays sending Vienna, and more importantly, the entire series off wonderfully.
Godspeed. Good night, Vienna.
Good night, Vienna.
But no matter how far away you are, know that I'm here to guide you home.
For an evidence that we do have a Big Freeze's 20, it's confirmed that the 20 cut was never fully filmed, as apparently the crew did not have enough time to film the full thing. Though evidence does suggest a scene with Sea Rogue that was cut did exist at one point but was cut for time in the 15-minute version. Unfortunately, I'm not very keen on Big Freeze as I kinda should be. I mean, it's still a good episode, it's better than Sunshine, Quarantine, and Warriors 15 if you ask me, but plot-wise, it does not do anything crazy or super memorable outside of the ending. Despite this, I still like this episode, it's just not a favourite of mine. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is TUGS. I hope by explaining why each episode is at least very good and all that jazz is enough to suffice a better idea in terms of why I love this show so much. Yes, I know some people already reviewed the series in full, but this is mostly my opinion and my words here. Now my job here is done. Psst. Huh? Psst. Wait. Psst. What, is that not enough for you folks? Oh wait, I think one more thing will suffice for you all, and it is probably the ultimate reason why I love this show to begin with. Behind the scenes. TUGS is well known for its troubled production. When they always took a turn, it seemed like something major was about to take them back. For starters, the series was extremely expensive, going well over budget. Things didn't help when 5 minutes of content was unable to be used for television, which led to many scenes being deleted from episodes. Jinxed, High Winds, and Warrior are possibly the most notorious episodes to be trimmed down from 20 to 15 minutes. Now before anyone says it, although yes it was the plan originally, 30-minute cuts do not exist for the first filmed episodes. The decision to make them 20 minutes in length was decided prior to filming in the final drafts. So why is this all interesting, you may ask? Well, it's a bit of a long story. But long story short, TUGS is unfortunately hindered by gatekeeping. Now, if a franchise is still currently in production, and or is still under deep copyright to the point the right owners will take issue, gatekeeping is somewhat understandable. But the TUGS IP has not been used for an extremely long time. The only time in recent memory it's been legitimately used was the group of fans I was actually about to get into. To keep yet another story super short, the TUGS props are now currently owned by the Sodor Island Forms group, TUGS the Exhibition, also formerly known as the Star TUGS Exhibition and the Star TUGS Trust. These are mostly people who worked on the Sodor Island Forms and fanside. However, in order to keep this video short enough to a point I will not break my brain over it, the Trust are mostly infamous for the gatekeeping of specific assets from the show's production, such as VHS tapes containing historically significant content to most behind-the-scene photos. They have been artificially making them more mysterious than they had any right to be. To somewhat give credit where credit is due, they have been showing off select pieces of material like scripts, photos, and even so far, 3 of their tapes, which to give them the most credit I can give them, 2 of which are extremely significant to the history of TUGS. So yeah, still extremely lazy to have fan recordings of the screening being the only way they will be released when they have already had these tapes digitized. Oh yeah, by the way, the promotional demo tape, aka the sizzle reel, is also differently cropped for seemingly no reason, so I guess this was a last minute decision. There are lots of reasons why TUGS the Exhibition are generally despised in certain parts of the fandom. Despite these actions though, they still have their fans, which unfortunately means the TUGS fandom, as somewhat small as it is divided. So what does this correlate to behind the scene materials aside from the fact they've been gatekept from the public? Well, simply there is one positive. It sort of made discussion on the show even more interesting. If you lived in the TUGS community before 2021, the show felt quite mysterious. The idea of getting some behind the scene materials at all would be a miracle. And of course that means there's lots of fan theories and speculation. For the likes of Snatcher and Ghosts, 30-minute cuts, and even the whereabouts of certain prop whereabouts, cause major discussion in the more theoretical side of the community. Because combined with the fact that many behind the scene elements were still lost, made this children's show feel oddly mysterious. However, now is the best time to be a TUGS fan. Since 2021 we are gradually getting more behind the scene content from the show's history. While it's still a long way to go in order to get a huge gist of the show's production, it is still amazing we even have a lot more than what we used to have. And that's where I want to direct you all to the amazing group known as the TUGS Project. TUGS Project has been painstakingly restoring Polaroids, prints, negatives, scripts, and recently tapes. Yes, even TUGS Project has even got their hands on a VHS tape with rare TUGS content. TUGS Project is ran by fans for fans, and while their recent outcome has been slow, there will always be something to look forward to when they release something. If you have not already, please give them a follow on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and in case something big gets found, subscribe to them on YouTube so you'll never miss the newest findings. Phew, that was a long video, and I'm hoping this will suffice in favour of the old TUGS review. While I cannot promise certain videos in the future no more, I will promise a better variety in terms of TUGS content going forward. While this video may seem like any other review on the show, I am 100% sure that the personal additions will suffice as to sound on its own. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. And also, happy anniversary TUGS! See you all next time. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you can always subscribe and hit that notification bell. And also, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Okay, bye!